Well, hello and welcome again to the Bottom Line Me podcast, where we like to take some time to talk about issues, challenges, and things that are going on in the title insurance industry. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Andrew Herbert. Andrew is our video producer and editor at Old Republic Titles Agency University, and Andrew is the visionary behind a new online leadership course that's tailored for professionals in our industry. Andrew, hi there. Welcome back. Been a while.
Thanks for having me back on.
It's great to see you. It's great to see you. Before we start on our topic, for those that may not know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role at Old Republic Title entails?
Yeah, for Old Republic, I work under the Agency University department, developing video content for our easy learning platform as well as other materials for our agents to utilize.
Awesome. And you are the producer of this Bottom Line Me podcast as well.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Super. So we're going to talk about leadership. I know that you were inspired or something caused you to want to develop an online leadership course. And, one of the things that I think is that becoming a great leader isn't a one and done. You can't take a course and learn how to be a leader. It's really a journey of continuous learning and growth, and that ongoing process that we can all benefit from, occasionally seeking out either a new skill or going back and refreshing something that we learned in the past. And also, I think from time to time, our leadership is going to evolve depending on situations, cultures, circumstances, and the people who we hope to lead and inspire. So let's talk a little bit about the course content and the objectives. What are some of the key components that you put together in this course?
Yeah, so it's a multi-module program. Covers everything from different communication styles, providing effective direction to your team, learning how to motivate and engage your team members, as well as providing feedback and coaching to anybody involved as well.
Awesome. Wow. So there's a wide range of skills and knowledge that people can get if they decide to enroll and take this course. So that's great. Great.
It covers, it's mostly overview. It is more of the rudimentary content, but it is a wide range of leadership concepts.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That's awesome. So I know you did a little something different when you put this course together. You decided to interview a few leaders in our company, and I know one of the leaders that you had an opportunity to interview was our president, Carolyn Monroe. So tell us a little bit about why you wanted to do that and what it was like to interview Carolyn.
Well, I know back when we were developing the program, we discussed, whose perspectives or who could we talk to that may, have a leadership influence or perspective in the industry. And the thought struck me, I was like, why don't we go for the top, go for the top.
Awesome.
One of the tops of the entire title industry. So.
Awesome. Well, I know you asked her a variety of questions, and I know you're going to share with us either part of that interview or perhaps maybe the entire interview. But before we do that, I just want to ask you yourself, any specific leadership traits or qualities that you feel have contributed to your success in your role?
Personally, organization and efficiencies. I think I've worked towards figuring out how to do stuff the most efficiently and that's worked out so far.
Yeah, well, you certainly took the lead in putting together this course, so I'm excited to take it myself and to share it with our audience and with our agents. So awesome. So do you want to give us a bottom line, or do you want to tell us what you'd like to do? Would you like to share this video, or should we go to the bottom line first?
Well, I think we can share Carolyn's perspective first, see how she feels about the current industry and her position as a leader and some of the difficult decisions she's had to make.
Awesome. Super.
In today's segment, we chat with an accomplished individual in the title insurance industry. We'll touch on essential leadership topics from effective communication to overcoming obstacles.
Okay.
This conversation aims to equip all leaders, whether new or experienced, with tangible insights. I'd like to welcome our guest today, Carolyn Monroe. She's been with Old Republic Title for over 14 years. Currently, Carolyn is the president and CEO of Old Republic Title. Carolyn, thank you for joining me.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So let's get started. How did you get started in the title insurance industry, and what inspired you to pursue a leadership role?
Well, probably like most people, I didn't really know what the title insurance industry was. Someone told me I should go and apply there. This company, I just moved to New Mexico, and prior to that, I lived in Denver, and I'd been in banking. But I got married, moved to New Mexico, didn't work for a couple of years when I moved there, and then decided I wanted to get back to work. And having a finance background, there was a title company in Albuquerque. Both of their bookkeepers had walked out, and I was supposed to go start at a bank, interviewed with the guy that was running the company, and he convinced me to come into the title business. And it was pretty simple. It was like that, and I did it and loved it. I've never left since then. It's been over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what have you found has been the most important leadership qualities or traits you believe have contributed to your success here?
I think it's helped that I worked my way up from the bottom. I didn't just come into this industry in a leadership role. I was able to work side by side with people. I've learned a lot of jobs, and I just think that really getting to know the industry helps you. But also, I care a lot about people, and I've worked for people that I didn't want to be like them, and that really helped me on the kind of leader that I wanted to be. And it's just, I don't think anyone ever, well, maybe some people do, but I never said, oh, one day I want to run the company. It was just not like that. I just started doing jobs and literally worked my way up, and it was just fun.
And in your experience, what are some of the unique challenges and opportunities that leaders have faced specifically in title insurance, and how have you navigated them?
I think probably the biggest one is the regulatory environment. It's different from the West Coast to the East Coast. You have to understand it. You have to learn it. You can't learn it all, so you're going to make sure you have really good people in your organization that understand it. But also, the economic fluctuations that we have, the good years, the bad years, just trying to navigate through all that. It can be difficult in our business because no matter how good we are, we're really dependent on a market. We're dependent on the economy. We're dependent on jobs being out there for our industry to, be successful. And so you have to understand all that and be able to navigate the good times and the bad times.
Nice. And how do you ensure effective communication within your team, considering diverse communication styles and preferences of certain team members?
Especially, it's a lot more difficult now because as we have, a lot of young people entering the industry, it seems like every generation has a different style of how they like to communicate. My generation had to learn texting but you have generations now that's really how they communicate. And you have to understand that. And you can't force people to communicate your way or it just won't work. That was difficult. I remember when I first had to learn video conferencing. I remember telling someone, oh, it's okay. We like to talk by phone. Well, then things happened and video conferencing became really important. And now I don't know what we do about it. It's just part of it. And so I think you have to understand, especially the current leadership team I have, it's just really important that I understand the best way to communicate with them. And I've just learned it. And I don't make them adapt to me all the time. I try to adapt to them just so I can get the most out of it. You just have to be very flexible as a leader. It's not all about you. That's the hardest thing for a lot of people to learn. It's not about your style. It's about learning everyone else's style too.
I think that's been a common theme is learning, working
Right.
with others and how to communicate with them instead.
Definitely.
Can you share an example of a difficult decision you had to make as a leader and how you're able to approach it?
Sure. The best thing as a leader is to always have people on your team that you can rely on and that give you good feedback. You always have to, you have to make the final call. And so you have to be comfortable with it. But, I not that long ago, I had to make a total restructuring decision within the organization that really took a whole group, a department, and it sort of turned it upside down, but it was the best thing for the company. And I had to go into it really understanding every piece about it. And if I left it the way it was, how it would affect the company. And if I changed it, and I just had to really outweigh the good and the bad. And in the end, we made the change. We totally restructured it. And the thing is, when you make difficult decisions, it usually involves people not being with your organization. So you have to be really sensitive to that. And what is that going to do to the rest of the organization and to that person? As a leader, you're always sensitive to what you're doing to people and how you're affecting their life when you make a decision about their job. And so I just had to take all that into consideration. In the end, you have to do what's best for the people that are left and for the company, because that is your responsibility as a leader, is to the company, to your owners, your employees. You have to consider all of that. It's not easy, but if you get enough good input, it helps you. Don't always rely on yourself to make, every single decision. It shouldn't be that way.
Exactly. And I can't imagine making those decisions are, super easy. But what strategies and techniques do you use to motivate and inspire your team members, especially in challenging times when you have to deal with setbacks?
Well, I have to just remind them again that not everything is in our control. You have to remember you can only control what you can do. It goes back to the market. We can't control the market. And you have to just keep in mind and just focus on what you can control. And that's what we do. I mean, I think that communicating with your team and with your employees is the best way to keep them motivated. If you sort of go into hiding because things are getting difficult, that's not good for people. I mean, when things get difficult, you have to be the person out there telling people what's going on. Don't let other people tell your story, especially in difficult times. In good times, I love for other people to tell our story, because other people should get credit for the successes that are going on. But as a leader, it's your responsibility, to either take the blame or, to take the responsibility when things aren't going well. And that's what you have to remember. People want to see you. They want to know you're in this with them. And I think that's really important, is to always be out there in front of your employees.
Nice. Shifting gears a little bit, but how do you build and maintain a strong professional network within title insurance? And what roles has your network played within your own career growth?
I think networks are really important. You meet people in this industry that you sort of like, I mean, it can be years. And then you remember this person and how they influenced your life. Our network in the title industry is not just title people. We get to be with realtors. We get to be with lenders. We get to be with attorneys. And all those people that you meet somehow affect a decision you're making. Conversations, you'll remember conversations that you have. But it's always important to keep up with these people. You never know when you're going to need them or when they're going to need you. And the title industry is a pretty tight network. In fact, someone recently said that to me. I don't want to use the word incestuous, but we've all worked together at some point. And that's the other thing you better remember in your network is be careful, because you're going to meet someone that one day they might be your boss. So that's important to remember when you're meeting people and you're networking, and to always be respectful of people, because you're going to cross their path again. You just are. No matter how much you don't want to, it's going to happen. But I think, maintaining a network for success is really important. It's just nice to know there's other people doing what you're doing that you can rely on at times.
Yeah, totally agree. What do you think are some key trends or shifts in title insurance that leaders should be aware of and be prepared for in the coming years?
I think the biggest one that sticks out is just the change of technology. It's funny because doing this for over 40 years, I every few years someone's going to disrupt our industry, and for years nothing ever changed in our industry. But technology is starting to play a bigger role in the title business, and I think it's important to understand it. And it's not technology is not my background. It's not what I do. So it's important to always have people on your team that understand it. But you have to understand how it plays into our industry. Technology is fun. AI is interesting. All this stuff is great. But you don't want to get so far out there that you've invested a lot of money and time in something that is not anything that we really need. It's that shiny object and it's great, but you can waste a lot of time and money. So I think you've just got to really understand, where does it fit? How does it fit within our industry and within your organization? That's the other thing. And so I think really trying to stay on top of that and navigate through that is something that we're really facing now, and I think will continue to be in the future. The other is just motivating people to get in our industry, to really attract younger people to get into our industry and love it as much as all of us have that have been doing this forever.
And if you could offer one piece of advice to aspiring leaders, what would it be?
Always trust your gut. I think that's really important. I think it's important to really, trust your decisions, but also make sure that you have people that you trust around you and that you rely on. It's like I said before, you can't do this by yourself. And anyone that thinks you can, you're going to be lonely. It's not lonely at the top unless you choose for it to be. And I've always chosen for it to not be that way. You have to be respectful of the people that you work with. You have to remember how you got to where you are as a leader and who helped get you there, and rely on those people. There's always people that have helped you along the way. And there's a reason they helped you. They believed in you and they understand what's going on. So you just never forget that. And don't ever think it's weak to talk to people and go, what do you think? A lot of people are afraid to ask for help. I've never been. And I'm really quick to, let people know when I don't know what I'm doing. That's the other thing you have to be really careful about. Don't always think that you have to know everything, because you don't. And you have to admit when you don't, and you have to rely on other people. The minute you try to start talking about something you don't know about, you're done. And so I'm really careful not to do that.
Wonderful advice. As we conclude this conversation, Carolyn, I extend a sincere thank you for sharing your expertise. To our listeners, whether you're beginning or advancing your leadership in the title insurance industry, this discussion offered practical guidance. Let's keep in mind, leadership involves continual learning. Thank you for tuning in, and let's commit to ongoing growth and success together.
Okay, well, Andrew, that was really, really interesting to listen to your interview with Carolyn. Some great takeaways there. So you want to give us a bottom line here?
I think the bottom line is just to get involved. I mean, just learn from other people's perspective and learn from their experience. And as soon as you can, sign up for Easy Learning and register for the leadership development course.
Awesome. Well, I love that bottom line. That's a great one. So, well, thanks for spending some time, for putting the course together, and for sharing your thoughts and insights on your interview with Carolyn. And to our audience, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. And as Andrew said, if you're interested in learning more about this course, you can reach out to your Older Public Title sales rep. You can contact us at Agency University, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction. So until we meet again, I hope you're all going to continue to learn, grow, and prosper. Thanks again.